You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my recap and review for the 2022 Academy Awards. Now, before we get into this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Oh my, do we have an award show to talk about this year? Because the Academy Awards really brought the mess when it came to this year's telecast. A lot of firsts, whether it comes to the actual awards and the stats that they were breaking, or, well, on stage altercations between some of the guests. It was a night to remember, certainly. As we always do here on this channel for recaps and reviews, before we get into the actual ceremony, we discuss some of the fashions as I go through my picks for the best and the worst dressed of the night. So if I'm being honest, I found most of the looks kind of middling. I enjoyed them, but I didn't love them, or I thought they were a little bit off, but I didn't really hate them. Some concepts I really liked, but execution-wise, it didn't quite work. But I like a little bit of risk, particularly with the man. I love a good risk, as you'll see. And as usual, there were some grand looks, but I felt like there was actually quite a lot of understated looks, some dresses and ensembles that seemed a bit more fit for like a homecoming rather than the prom that is the Academy Awards. So, I wasn't all that interested with the outfits and the fashions for this year's award ceremony. But as always, there are still some who came to play, and thus my picks for the best dressed of the evening. Ingenue Ellis looked stunning in this beautiful type of burnt orange ball gown. I loved the cut. She absolutely looked regal and stunning. I have to admit, oftentimes for formal occasions such as the Oscars, I'm a bit of a sucker for that old school ball gown type of look. And this really presented that old school type of ball gown, but with some embellishment. I loved this almost tulle like bottom, the contrast to the more sleek top, but it was all very textured. And then this off the shoulder swoop moment, and then the strap shoulder on this side. It was a really nice asymmetry that looked stunning. Classic with just the right touch of innovation and new. Amelia Jones, new on the scene, and she nailed it for me on her first Oscars red carpet. I loved the hair, very clean, very crisp, and the dress was actually quite simple, but with her body shape, it worked perfectly. Now, this is verging on that homecoming style, but I love the sequins. The shine really popped. I liked this little ouch here, the cutout on the hip, and it still presented as this beautiful formal wear, but for a young woman. I thought she looked fabulous. Lily James was a complete knockout. First of all, this brunette hair really works for you, Lily. And then this beautiful pink lace number was stunning. She looked gorgeous on that red carpet. Once again, it could have gone to like lingerie type of sleep sexy wear, but that nice train and that billow behind her elevated it just enough to give it that red carpet touch that I loved. My final pick for the ladies is Penelope Cruz, who donned this stunning, really deep blue gown that looked like almost a velvet texture, with this nice holster neck accent that looked stunning. The open arms and the nice cutouts in the chest area made it a little bit more sexy, while the cut of the gown was still very classic and elegant. She had pockets. Yes, we always live for a formal gown with pockets, and she just looked like a 10. Absolutely stunning for Penelope Cruz. For the men, I loved Andrew Garfield. I loved the soft accent of color he used. Double-breasted type of like velvet red jacket looked stunning on him. And then I really did like this over exaggerated type of bow as his tie. He looked great. It was wonderfully fitted and it was classic with just a touch of new that didn't go over the top, like we'll see with the couple in the worst dress category. And then I have to give it to Cody Smith McPhee. I almost didn't have a second person to fully put on this list, but the more I looked at Cody's outfit, the more I fell in love with it. I love, just adore this baby blue. And like his other outfits throughout the award circuit, really accents and goes with the character he was nominated for in many ways to me. Was fitted to perfection. The soft blue worked so well against his skin tone. And then what really put it over the edge was the bling. The necklace, the earring, cemented it as top tier outfits for men of the night. Now their shoes, that's where it got wonky for me. I'm not sure about those big black platform type of soles on the shoe, but they worked well enough with the whole aesthetic. So we'll put Cody on the best dressed. Now I have an in between. I have somebody I am honestly a little bit torn on because I absolutely love it. Partially maybe because I love him. And let's just be very honest. Timothée Chalamet does it for the gays and the girls and the theys. Let's be clear. Because every time he comes to the red carpet, that's how he's dressed. And that's how he came tonight. He looks like a chic rock star, a complete superstar. He looks amazing. I adore the complete outfit overall. However, why I can't put it on my best list, why I contemplated even putting it on my worst list, though I loved the ensemble and thought he looked great, I don't know how I feel about not wearing a shirt to the Academy Awards, to the VMAs, to the Golden Globes, to so many of these other award shows. This is a 10 out of 10 best dressed person of the entire evening for me. But for the Oscars, I don't know. There's just something a little bit sacrilegious about showing up without a shirt. A lot of people didn't even have ties on, but to just ditch the shirt, I mean, it was bold for sure. It was bold, and he'll be remembered. He was thirsted after, both here in my house, on Twitter, and right there in the award ceremony, Ms. Regina Hall. So I loved it, Timothée, but I'm not sure how I feel about it in my old traditional heart. Now on to the worst. There's a lot of people I love that I had to put on this worst list, so kind of makes me sad. But we're kicking off with Amy Schumer's opening look, the look she walked the red carpet with. I absolutely hated. It is this body contour blue dress with this rhinestoned, bow tie, old school type of bow tie in the middle. It really accentuated the wrong part of her body, that bow tie coming out in her midsection like that. It wasn't a flattering cut at all for her. If the dress didn't have that embellishment or it was just kind of like glittery throughout, it would have been okay. It wouldn't have made my best, but it certainly would have been here. But as it was, it just kind of looked a little bit cheap. And on top of that, did no favors for her. And I did not like it, especially standing next to Wanda and next to Regina, who looked amazing. And that opening monologue, yeah, it didn't work, girl. Katrina Belfi put the whole package of bedding on her body. I don't know what this fabric is, but it looks like some old, stiff, kind of wrinkled sheets for the actual body of the dress, and then some sort of comforter with the bed skirt just kind of stitched to the middle and dragging behind her. It really has no type of design. It just looks really patchwork together. There's no concept. There's no vision here. And it's ugly. It doesn't flatter her either. It poofs her out at a weird part. It's not a good peplum because that material is not good for a peplum right there. And also it's a train. It's not a peplum. But the fabric is unforgiving, especially on the skirt part of the dress. It looked wrinkled. It looked cheap. It looked ugly. I didn't like the color either, but there's just so much wrong with this bed in a bag outfit that, just throw it all out and try again. Jessie Buckley went the super simple route, but it did not work for me. First of all, I hate this hair. I'm sorry, Jessie, but please. I think this haircut maybe could work with a dark color on her, but the color and that cut together. Oh, I hated it the moment I saw it. Please do something different with that hairstyle. I hated it. But then we get to the dress, it's wrinkled. That's like a big problem for me. If you're gonna do just a flat monotone type of surface, it can have no wrinkles. And this was wrinkled. The color, once again, these last two have really chosen colors that are a bit too close to their skin tone. And it didn't work really at all for me with Jessie Buckley either. Naomi Scott is such a stunning, beautiful young woman, and she decided to age herself about 30 years with this ensemble. Not bad to literally be covered from chin all the way down to ankle, but I don't know. This just really aged her to me. I did not like the drapery, the shawl overcoat type of fabric that went over her shoulders. I didn't really like the fabric of the dress either. It wasn't really form fitting or forgiving to her amazing figure. Get down to those shoes, that really clunky black heel. Oh, and I mean, you couldn't see the shoes much, but they weren't good. Really, this great. Love the slick back hair, but the rest of the outfit, leave it as your grandma's bedspread because that is not meant to be made into a dress. Rita Moreno, we love you, queen, darling, all of that. This was terrible. I know you said kind of just why not with this porcupine on the head, but it looked a hot ass mess, girl. wear a real wig or something. Don't just come Party City to the Oscars. Like, what's going on, girl? This is Ms. Moreno, you are a legend, but this was not legendary in any sense of the word. The outfit itself was also a little bit too kind of bulky for her really small stature. Shoes were fine enough. I actually would have liked the shoes with some sort of like suit style outfit on Rita. I thought that would have been really cool, but instead we got this and I hated everything about it, including the makeup. Whoever's doing Rita Moreno's makeup, I think we need to find somebody else because it's not working. Oh, my beloved Serena Williams. If you know me, you know how much I adore her. She's my girl. She's my number one. This was awful. I don't know what was going on with this dress with Serena. The color wasn't great. I really like her in bold color. Serena rocks it. Instead, she had the secondary curtain fabric dress here. You know, not like the actual curtain, but what you put behind there. When you want to pull the heavy curtain back, you still got a little layer. That's what you would wear. The flow didn't work. The sleeves were terrible. I hated the sleeves. The black, like flowery embellishment was horrible. The gloves were terrible. Everything. I didn't like this at all from Serena. Sorry. For the man, I only really have two. The first is Jamie Dornan, who I love. But if you're gonna go just standard tux, black and white, stereotypical, what every man wears on every red carpet all the time, it has to look good. And this was terrible. It's really horribly fitted. He's been rocking this almost grungy look up here for the whole award season, basically. Not my favorite, but the pants are baggy. That coat is at least 2 sizes too big. It looks really frumpy. It looks like those of us who don't have a whole lot of money, who have to like thrift shop and can't afford to get our coats tailored. That's what this looks like. And for someone like Jamie Dornan attending the Oscars, and we know you have the resources, yeah, it lands you on the worst stress list. And the other is David Oyelowo, who I don't know what this is. This is like trying to be unique, trying to stand out in all of the wrong ways. Usually, if you do a print on the coach, then I advise a straight black pant, please. Do not pair a printed jacket with a printed pant like this. It is just tacky and terrible. But regardless, this toxic sunflower design just needed to be thrown in the trash regardless. Don't wear this at all, whether it's one or the other. The design is so bad. It's so gaudy and ugly and just in your face. The shoes don't work with it in any type of way. So I don't know what you would pair with it to try and make it work. All of this, the whole outfit is wretched. Probably actually my least favorite thing I had to watch walk that red carpet tonight. Now, on to the awards themselves. I'm happy to say this is the best, literally, I have ever done in predicting the Academy Award winners. I got 22 of 23 correct this year. I've never been that accurate. Now, I did go the safe route on pretty much everything, and it paid off. So that's a little bit boring, I'd say. However, while there were a lot of categories that I think we all got right because they were well done before the awards ever even aired, there were still several categories that so many of us were split on that could go one of two or three different ways. So I'm shocked that all of those went the way I predicted. Let me know how you did. Did you get all 23 right? Are you up in the 20 to 23 range? Or did you take a lot of big swings? Did you let Film Twitter convince you Penelope Cruz had this for some reason, which I still don't quite understand? The one I missed was Best Animated Short, which I was not really confident on regardless. So, not too mad about it. Coda winning Best Picture. Coda sweeping 3 for 3, like I thought it would, obviously, is actually quite the feat, only having 3 nominations and winning for Best Picture. Okay, that's interesting. Dune sweeping through the technicals like we knew it would. And first-time winners across the board, and Will Smith, Jessica Chastain, Troy Kotzer, and Ariana DeBose for the acting categories. Our 5th Black man to win the lead actor award, while we still only have 1 Black woman for any of the races that aren't white in Best Lead Actress. As we saw with this year's nominees, getting a Black, Latina, Asian, Middle Eastern, Native actress into Best Lead Actress is damn near impossible, and getting over that line for the win, well, Halle Berry's the only one to do it. So still disappointing on that front, but we did make further history with Troy Kotzer winning. He is the first deaf male to ever win an acting award. He is only the 2nd deaf actor to ever win an Academy Award, after his co-star, Marlee Matlin, did so. And then we had our first Afro-Latina and our first openly queer Afro-Latina at that, winning for Best Supporting Actress. So there was a lot of history being made here. Jessica Chastain was really the only one kind of par for the course when it came down to it. But I'm really happy for her. Both her and Will Smith were 3-time nominees, finally getting their due. Jane Campion winning for Best Director. I don't think any of us were shocked, but it also marks history. She was the first female to get 2 nominations in the category. And now this is the first time in history we've had back-to-back female director winners, and only the 3rd woman to ever win this award. Now, if only we could get a Black director to win this award, that would be great. As for Dune, it wins. It wins cinematography. It wins for Best Original Score, Best Film Editing, Best Sound, Best Production Design, and finally, Best Visual Effects. It swept all 6 categories. I thought it was going to win. There were a couple of them a little dicey on. So hopefully, as long as that second film turns out as good as I assume it will, this is a good sign for Denis Villeneuve and Dune Part 2 to come in and maybe pull a Return of the King and really sweep this mess up once it releases. Cruella for fashion, hey, what I wanted. I know some people are like, oh, but this, but no. All of them outfits in Cruella were impeccable. They were amazing. They were flashy. They were gorgeous, darling. Yes. Encanto takes home Best Animated Feature. I know all of our hearts were begging for Mitchell's, but Encanto was too big to stop, y'all. No Time to Die gets Billie Eilish, her first Academy Award. Not my favorite. I was really hoping Dos Oruguitas would win it, but I knew it wasn't going to happen. Drive My Car, international feature, Summer of Soul, documentary. I mean, it pretty much went exactly how most of us kind of anticipated. Belfast and Coda took home the screenplay awards, and that was all they wrote. As soon as they announced Coda beat The Power of the Dog for Best Adapted Screenplay, that was a wrap. We knew Coda had Best Picture in the bag, and sure enough, it took it home. So I'm not mad at it, though I have to admit, even if it ruined my great record of 22 correct, I was hoping for maybe a couple more upsets, but what are you going to do? Instead, the show made up for the lack of upsets in the drama department. So let's go ahead and talk about all the other mess that went down in this year's Academy Awards ceremony. First, I know we're getting to that moment. We're getting there. But first, let's start with them hosts because it was really up and down, I would say. I actually quite enjoyed their opening monologue overall, though I'll admit I wish it was just Regina Hall and Wanda Sykes. They were riffing off each other very well. And then Amy would kind of like come in and make it just a tad awkward. I don't think she was bad. I think they had good chemistry amongst the three. So that opening monologue actually gave me a touch of hope that maybe we were in for a fun show. And for the most part, I enjoyed the hosts. Amy Schumer was far and away the worst. I'm just going to say it. I know it's probably like, oh, bias. No, she was the worst. She had the least laughs and she had the most cringe. That Spider-Man thing was a hot ass mess, y'all. I don't know. I was like, okay, girl, please. Honestly, we should have just left this with Wanda on the stage by herself as Richard Williams, but the whole Tammy Faye thing was kind of cute. And then that Spider-Man, no, not for me. Not for me. Cut her down and send her to the exit, please. And then she really threw weird jokes out there, like talking about Maggie and Jake Gyllenhaal being a couple. We never really got like around to a resolve in that joke. It just stayed weird. And Jake Gyllenhaal was like, what the hell is she talking about? No, girl. And then we got that awkward moment with like Jesse Plemons and Kristen Dunst and her calling her a seat filler and all that. No, it didn't work for me either. But I was glad that she brought, Ukraine attention in with part of her bit. That was something she was passionate about heading in. I don't think Amy Schumer was a bad person by any means, just not my favorite. And she was my least favorite of the hosts. Then we had Wanda Sykes. She was kind of that middle woman for me. I thought she was really funny in that opening monologue. Every time it was just kind of her. And Regina Hall, I thought Wanda was also really funny because she could bounce off of Regina. I think they have good chemistry. They have a similar style, whereas I don't think Amy is quite that same style. But I thought Wanda was overall good when she was in the building. Instead of a monologue, though, they sent Wanda off to the Academy Museum to do like a little promo for their freaking museum. No, we should have given Wanda a monologue because she's literally a stand-up comedian who kills that. And the whole museum thing wasn't very funny and it went on way too long. So yeah, that was the misstep for Wanda. Though it also just kind of felt gross from the outset doing this little promo for the Academy Museum. No, thank you. Then we have Regina Hall, who is probably the most controversial of the evening. I know lots of people were mad at her. I'm sorry, she slayed me, y'all. I thought she was hilarious. Pretty much start to finish. Whenever Regina Hall was on the stage, I was laughing. Look, as a thirster, as someone thirst is part of this brand over here, y'all, whether it be on my channel or on my Twitter. Thirst is a big part of the brand at ChillyBoy Productions. So Regina Hall just basically was representing me on that opening little bit about COVID tests and calling some select members of the audience on back for a naked COVID test. Yep, no, that was me. I literally felt my spirit in Regina Hall. Now people are screaming sexual assault and she's up here assaulting people on the stage and this is gross and blah, blah, blah. No, please. It was a joke, first of all. And I know oftentimes that is used to excuse racism and bigotry there. But they were in on the gag. They were going with it. I guess maybe it was taken a bit too far if Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa didn't know that was going to happen. But once again, they rolled with it. I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, I thought it was really quite funny. So that's just my own 2 cents on it. I thought it was funny. Sue me. And then we get to her other big bit for me that worked, that other people were quite up in arms about, with Miss Regina Hall, because she shaded the absolute hell out of The Last Duel. Talking about nobody watched this. Nobody, not even the director, holding this little DVD. People are like, oh my God, why is she coming for The Last Duel? Because it made $10 million at the box office. That's why she said that. And then on top of that, the director came out, Mr. Ridley Scott came out and started blaming Marvel for the fact that The Last Duel bombed. That's why we all have been shading The Last Duel, the $100 million budget Last Duel, for making 10 million at the box office. Stop it. Y'all be crying over nothing. And then, she told Miss Dame Judi Dench to get up and get that ass back to work if she wants another Oscar. Obviously, it was a joke at Kim Kardashian's expense, first and foremost. A hot ass mess Kim is for actually saying that to folks. It was funny. Judy was laughing. Who cares? I don't know. Usually I'm like the social justice warrior who is like, no, you can't say that. But I don't know. Tonight, I thought some people, they took things a little bit seriously. We'll talk about another instance a little bit later. But other than that, the hosts were okay. If that was all we had being added in, I think that would have been okay to just have a host or a couple hosts moving us along. I don't think I would have minded that. However, the Academy Awards pre-taped 8 categories of actual film awards to edit down and like plug into the broadcast so they could take away like some of the walking up to the stage and take away part of their speech. And they did that so we would stay at 3 hours. We went to 3 hours and 40 minutes. That's definitely longer than last year's ceremony. And I actually think it's longer than most of the ceremonies of the past several years, at the least, when we presented all 23 or 24 awards before. Whether we had a host or didn't have a host, we've always had the music performances done. And we still went very, very long, Academy. Looks like presenting everybody's award wasn't really the problem. Now, was it? So next year, present all 23 live so we can hear their actual full speeches, and they're not treated like second-rate citizens of the film world where there's nobody in the audience because they're all out doing red carpet or doing other things, and you have to add in stock footage of people reacting when we know they weren't actually in the room when you presented that award to the winners. Yeah, no. Plus the editing, no, it was awkward. It was awkward. No. Your plan failed. Your plan failed. And if the ratings do come out to be higher than last year, which I think they will be, don't think it's because you did this with those 8 awards, because it's not. It's not. It's because people like mess and they want some reality action. That's why. But speaking of those categories and just award speeches in general, we had several really, really lovely awards throughout the night. First, the acceptance speech for Best Documentary Short Film was amazing. From what I heard, that is, because it was very clearly chopped and cut. But not only was it a beautiful tribute to an unknown legend and her family, but it was a tribute to female athletics and female professional sports and how we disrespect them and pretend no one is interested in them. And I'm glad that was at least aired to be like, this is proof that they matter and we need to give them more respect. In addition, there was also a plea to President Biden to bring Brittney Griner home. And this is also a plea to bring Brittney Griner home. So of all the other stuff that was going on tonight, I was really happy to see that statement made. Then we had Questlove, who gave a really emotional and beautiful speech about his parents and obviously The Summer of Soul, his whole documentary, and what that meant to his community and to him directly. It was a really beautiful speech and quite moving. But then the speech that stole the whole night, before the fight happened, the whole moment that stole the night was Best Supporting Actor going to Troy Kotzer. First of all, Jung Yoon is just amazing and absolute treasure that we must protect at all costs and get into more films ASAP. Iconic, amazing, I adore her. But here's what was so wonderful, first of all, about everything is as soon as she read it, she switched without hesitation into sign language to announce the winner. And I loved that. I thought that was so brilliant. And she kept kind of signing, at least what she knew, to Troy Kotzer. There was such a mutual respect she had with him that was really, really beautiful to see. And I'm so glad she was there to present this award because it was some of the most care I've seen in a presentation of the night, certainly, and of some time. It was really, really beautiful. And then Troy Kotzer, making that history we talked about earlier, gave a beautiful, impassioned, amazing speech, the best speech of the evening. It had us all in our feels, him obviously talking about his parents, and Sean Hader. It was a lovely, lovely speech. I'm so glad he had his moment, and what a fantastic moment it was. These are the moments we come to the Oscars for and come to see. And I'm glad we got that moment before everything really started to unravel. And now on to all of the controversial things of the evening. We had the In Memoriam this year, which I personally thought was beautiful. They slowed it down. They actually gave everyone we were paying respects to adequate time on the screen, really gave them their moment to shine. They had appropriate songs being played under there, unlike last year, which I found to be an absolutely appalling disaster of an In Memoriam. However, apparently people are upset that they were dancing as they were singing because there was a choir who was performing the various songs as they moved throughout the In Memoriam. Uh, have none of y'all heard of a celebration of life? I don't understand. It was a choir doing like this type of, little dances. They're not out here twerking in front of an in memoriam presentation. It was what you would see at a celebration of life. Not everything needs to be this downer, sobbing, depressing ass funeral. Like, these are people to be celebrated, first of all. I thought everything was done in such a respectful and beautiful way. For me, it was handled beautifully, and these people did deserve to be celebrated and recognized for their achievements to the world and their achievements, obviously, to film. And this perfectly did that. Then we had the Best Original Song performances. We opened the show with Beyonce, who killed it. But it was a pre-taped show. However, it really allowed for a moment. Having those kids marching down the street and then her performing on an actual tennis court in Compton, all in those tennis ball outfits, was really, really impactful. All the girls with their beaded hair, obviously an homage to Venus and Serena, but an homage to Black girls everywhere. And it was really empowering. She killed it. Beyonce's performance opened the show on such a high note. Then we got to the performance of Dos Oruguitas. Amazing. Loved his suit. That black suit with just the yellow butterfly accent was so good. The dancing, kind of replicating the part of the film, was beautiful. He was so nervous, though. You could like see his hand shaking when they got close in on him, but his vocals sounded great. It was a stunning performance. Honestly, those two performances stole the night when it came to music. Reba was fine, but the background band really, really was too loud and her mic was way too low. And then Billie Eilish, she was fine. I mean, there wasn't much she could do, and especially after that BAFTAs performance where she had Hans Zimmer actually like conducting the orchestra there, this really got paled in comparison to that. And then that moment, We Don't Talk About Bruno was performed, kind of. They brought in Megan Thee Stallion for like a little remix. and even further brought in some stars that were not Maluma, even, who, was actually a voice in Encanto. I don't know why. We couldn't just get the film ensemble to come on out and perform the actual song. We had to do this weird remix. Honestly, I did not like it at all. I did not. And it kind of was like, okay, well, Dos Oruguitos won the night for Encanto. It was a much better performance all the way around. I don't know what that performance, if we don't talk about Bruno, was. I thought it was bad. No. And it's still funny to me that it got performed in the first place because Disney really, really knew they screwed up because they could have had that original song Oscar in the bag, but they nominated the wrong song. Then, of course, the infamous fan voted winners, the Twitter Awards, that had their time to shine right there on the Oscar stage. And just like myself, and many other people knew, the Snyder cult, no offense, that's what y'all are called around here. The Snyder fans, we'll say that. Let's be nice. The Snyder fans took over, which we knew they would. They have an army that is mobilized. They went every fan voted anything that has to do with Zack Snyder, and they showed their might and their power. So good on him. Zack Snyder's Justice League wins for fan moment when it came to the Flash run scene, and then Army of the Dead wins for fan favorite film of 2021. I think because for some reason or another, Justice League was ineligible. Otherwise, that would have won. It was mostly funny to me that Cinderella was runner up. Some film I didn't know was number 3. Spidey, my poor Spidey and Tom Holland, only number 4 for favorite films of 2021. And I loved that Jennifer Hudson's And I'm Telling You beat The Matrix as number 4 in the favorite moment in film of all time. A mess. I mean, it was just a mess, y'all. There was no reason for those awards in the first place. We all knew that the Snyder folks were gonna win. I mean, who else has a mobilized army like that? No one. So they got exactly what they deserved by even introducing those awards, if you ask me. And speaking of things that didn't belong, yeah, the athletes and the random folks just presenting things out of nowhere. Why? Why didn't you have Judi Dench, Javier Bardem, somebody do the Bond thing? Instead, we brought up 3 athletes that have nothing to do with the show. There should have been 2 athletes there tonight: Venus Williams, Serena Williams. Why? Because they were producers and subjects of a Best Picture nominee. All these other athletes, a lot of these singers, what was Shawn Mendes? Who cares? What is going on? I don't understand, but that's besides the point. And nobody really remembers that Shaun White and Tony Hawk presented an award together because Will Smith decided to jump up and slap the dog piss out of Chris Rock. Yeah, the moment we all will be talking about for some time is that moment. Chris Rock decided to make a very off-color joke. Let me just say that right now. I am not going to absolve Chris Rock for what he said. He made a bad joke at the expense of Jada Pinkett Smith being bald. She has alopecia. That's why she rocks the hairstyle she does, and it shouldn't really be made a joke of, and I can understand why both she and Will were upset by that. I'm just going to say that now. However, Will Smith could have just cussed Chris Rock the hell out, and I think we all still would have been gooped and gagged and be like, oh, damn. Don't know that he needed to jump up and slap the hell out of Chris Rock like he did. Is it assault? I mean, obviously, technically, yes, it is. However, everybody's calling for him to be dragged out, taken into jail. He shouldn't have been there for his best actor win. That's up to Chris Rock to decide. Chris Rock can press charges if he'd like. That's where I stand on that. Will made a bad choice. He decided to put his hands on someone, and that's not really acceptable. But honestly, I don't know how much of his speech was trying to backwalk and backtalk, obviously, the situation. I don't really think he needed to put all of the actresses and the Williams sisters into that mess that he tried to say. But what he said was right. I mean, obviously, he's been famous for so long, and there's so much built up. And I do believe him when he says, when he talked in his speech. I believed it. And I don't have that same understanding. I've never been someone like Will frickin' Smith and had people constantly coming at me like that. And then I'm not married, but if somebody made a joke at something very sensitive to my wife sitting right next to me and everybody's, laughing, kikiing, I don't know how I'd react. Um, so that's what I'm going to say there is I don't think either one of them were necessarily right, but I certainly understand where Will Smith is coming from. I know that's not necessarily the popular thing to say. I know people are very outraged. This is a big award show, a fancy event. But that's just how I am. That's how I've always been. Sorry about it. If Chris Rock wants to press charges, then press charges, and that will be the resolve there. I'm sure Will Smith, once he's away from the situation with a little bit more clarity of mind, will have something to say, and I'll be interested to hear it. We definitely all were. The Pizza Neon go like, what? Like, oh, like, and his speech felt awkward for, roping a lot of other things into it, but I don't know. I'm not on anyone's side on this one. I'm not going to sit here and talk about throwing Will Smith into jail. I'm not going to sit here and talk about this grand assault and it was the worst thing I've ever seen and all of that because it's not. It truly is not. It was not unprovoked. And I've seen far worse in many a case. I thought it was juicy. I thought it was drama. I thought it was a hot ass mess for sure. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be scandalized and all of that like I've seen so many others. So that's just my 2 cents when it comes to the Will Smith thing. I'm obviously very interested to see other people's opinions. Here's the thing, if you get crazy with how you discuss it, if I hear anything about race brought up into those comments, like our want to do, you will have your comment removed and be blocked from my channel. Just understand that you can discuss Will Smith and Chris Rock between the two of them as pertains to the situation without bringing in any other outside factors. Thank you. But that's it. This show was running long, just like them Oscars ran long because, well, they were a mess. That was my recap and review of all things Oscars 2022. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. What did you think of this insane ceremony? How did you feel about the Will Smith ordeal? How did you do in your predictions? And let me know, what did you think were the best and worst dressed on the red carpet? Let me know all of that juice down in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.